Proverbs Chapter 5, the Passion Translation. Subheader: Avoid promiscuity. Listen to me, my son, for I know what I'm talking about. Listen carefully to my advice, so that wisdom and discernment will enter your heart. And then the words you speak will express what you've learned. Remember this: the lips of a seductress seem sweet like honey, and her smooth words are like music in your ears. But I promise you this: in the end, all you'll be left with is a bitter conscience. For the sting of your sin will pierce your soul like a sword. She will ruin your life, drag you down to death, and lead you straight to hell. She has prevented many from considering the paths of life. Yes, she will take you with her where you don't want to go, sliding down a slippery road and not even realizing where the two of you will end up. Listen to me, young men, and don't forget this one thing I'm telling you. Run away from her as fast as you can. Don't even go near the door of her house, unless you want to fall into her seduction. In disgrace you will relinquish your honor to another, and all your remaining years will be squandered, given over to the cruel one. Why would you let strangers take away your strength, while the labors of your house go to someone else? For when you grow old, you will groan in anguish and shame, as sexually transmitted diseases consume your body. And then finally, you'll admit that you were wrong and say, if only I had listened to wisdom's voice and not stubbornly demanded my own way, because my heart hated to be told what to do. Why didn't I take seriously the warning of my wise counselors? Why was I so stupid to think that I could get away with it? Now I'm totally disgraced and my life is ruined. I'm paying the price, for the people of the congregation are now my judges. Subheader: Sex reserved for marriage. My son, share your love with your wife alone. Drink from her well of pleasure, and from no other. Why would you have sex with a stranger, or with anyone other than her? Reserve this pleasure for you and her alone, and do not share it with another. Your sex life will be blessed, as you take joy and pleasure in the wife of your youth. Let her breasts be your satisfaction, and let her embrace intoxicate you at all times. Be continually delighted and ravished with her love. My son, why would you be exhilarated by an adulteress? By embracing a woman who is not yours. For God sees everything you do, and his eyes are wide open as he observes every single habit you have. Beware that your sins don't overtake you, and that the scars of your own conscience don't become the ropes that tie you up. Those who choose wickedness die for lack of self-control, for their foolish ways lead them astray, carrying them away as hostages, kidnapped captives, robbed of destiny. Proverbs Chapter 5, Amplified Translation. Subheader: Pitfalls of immorality. My son, be attentive to my wisdom, godly wisdom, learned by costly experience. Incline your ear to my understanding, that you may exercise discrimination and discretion, good judgment, and your lips may reserve knowledge and answer wisely to temptation. For the lips of an immoral woman drip honey like a honeycomb, and her speech is smoother than oil. But in the end she is better like the extract of wormwood, sharp as a two-edged sword. Her feet go down to death, her steps take hold of Sheol, the netherworld, the place of the dead. so that she does not think seriously about the path of life. Her ways are aimless and unstable. You cannot know where her path leads. Now then, my sons, listen to me, and do not depart or forget the words of my mouth. Let your way in life be far from her, and do not go near the door of her house. Avoid being near the places of temptation, or you will give your honor to others, and your years to the cruel one, and strangers will be filled with your strength, and your hard-earned wealth will go to the house of a foreigner who does not know God. And you will groan when your life is ending, when your flesh and your body are consumed, and you say, how I hated instruction and discipline, and my heart despised correction and reproof. I have not listened to the voice of my teachers, nor have I inclined my ear to those who instructed me. I was almost in total ruin, in the midst of the assembly and congregation. Drink water from your own cistern of a pure marriage relationship, and fresh running water from your own well. Should your springs, your children, be dispersed as streams of water in the streets? Confine yourself to your own wife. Let your children be yours alone, and not the children of strangers with you. Let your fountain, your wife, be blessed with the rewards of fidelity, and rejoice in the wife of your youth. Let her be as a loving hind and graceful doe. Let her breasts refresh and satisfy you at all times. Always be exhilarated and delight in her love. Why should you, my son, be exhilarated with an immoral woman and embrace the bosom of an outsider, a pagan? For the ways of man are directly before the eyes of the Lord, and he carefully watches all of his paths, all of his comings and goings. The iniquities done by a wicked man will trap him, and he will be held with the cords of his sin. He will die for lack of instruction and discipline, and in the greatness of his foolishness he will go astray and be lost. Proverbs Chapter 5, New Living Translation. Subheader: Avoid immoral women. My son, pay attention to my wisdom. Listen carefully to my wise counsel. Then you will show discernment, and your lips will express what you've learned. For the lips of an immoral woman are as sweet as honey, and her mouth is smoother than oil. But in the end she is as bitter as poison, as dangerous as a double-edged sword. Her feet go down to death. Her steps lead straight to the grave. For she cares nothing about the path to life. She staggers down a crooked trail and doesn't realize it. So now, my sons, listen to me. Never stray from what I am about to say. Stay away from her. Don't go near the door of her house. If you do, you will lose your honor, and will lose to merciless people all you have achieved. Strangers will consume your wealth, and someone else will enjoy the fruit of your labor. In the end you will groan in anguish when disease consumes your body. You will say, how I hated discipline. If only I had not ignored all the warnings. Oh, why didn't I listen to my teachers? Why didn't I pay attention to my instructors? I have come to the brink of utter ruin, and now I must face public disgrace. Drink water from your own well. Share your love only with your wife. Why spill the water of your springs in the streets, having sex with just anyone? You should reserve it for yourselves. Never share it with strangers. Let your wife be a fountain of blessing for you. Rejoice in the wife of your youth. She is a loving deer, a graceful doe. Let her breasts satisfy you always. May you always be captivated by her love. Why be captivated, my son, by an immoral woman, or fondle the breasts of a promiscuous woman? For the Lord sees clearly what a man does, examining every path he takes. An evil man is held captive by his own sins. They are ropes that catch and hold him. He will die for lack of self-control. He will be lost because of his great foolishness.